Good morning and welcome to the September 28th meeting of the Finance Committee. I call this meeting to order. I need a motion to approve the agenda.
Motion to approve the agenda.
Good morning and welcome to the September 28th meeting.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
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 Next, I need a motion to approve the August 24th meeting minutes.
So move.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Next, action item, the fiscal year end 2020-2021 budget amendments and transfers. Shauna.
Morning. What was included in your packet are my year-end budget amendments and transfers. This is fairly normal for us on our year-end when we do all of our required transfers and cleanup work for our auditors. Our auditors will be here next week on site, so we need to get these through before they get here. The first one, there's some just some various state amendments. There's some state funding that were allocated and some that were not. So we have to do that year-end cleanup to make sure we get all of our accounts in line. I don't know if you have any questions about any of those. There's some summer camp, some of the $350 or $300 bonuses that teachers got this year. Some of those funds that we make sure we budget to the penny because those are not allocated dollars.
Shauna, what is the veterans bonus?
That's the one that the state provided this year. All teachers got $300. So the state funds that. And that's where, like I say, once all that stuff posts, we go in and just budget to the penny because they fund whatever it costs.
So all teachers that are veterans got $300.
Well, that's just the name of that's just the account name, but yes, all the teachers.
How many years
all the teachers received a flat bonus this past year.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And so community college textbooks, I thought we had stopped that.
Well, that was a deduct. But yes, we still have college and career promise books that we use textbooks from. So we use our textbook account and transfer in between for some of those books.
Or some, right? Because this year
they have a process. There's a form that they complete that the guidance office completes.
Gotcha. Okay, just wanted to make sure.
Mm-hmm.
And we found out last week that there's some students who have required classes that have to get it SPCC, so we pay for those as well. Yes. Right. Okay, thanks. Next one.
Next, local amendment. This is related to the bonus we paid at the end of last year. So these are the local allocations we got from the county. I don't know if anybody has any questions about those.
Awesome. Those were was it $800 for all employees?
Correct.
Okay. Next.
Yep. Next, federal, there's 2 pages of federal amendments. I don't know if you all recall that at year end, we had a very short time frame to get all of our budgets for a lot of these Esser dollars posted, plus any amendments and transfers that we have in between any of the accounts. There were some slight changes with some of them where we have some deducts that come through at year end, but the majority of this, you're going to see that 171, 181, 178, all of that is Esser dollars that we have budgeted before year end. So really, it's just about getting those budgets on our book.
Great, thank you. Capital funds.
Capital, we did, if you all recall, the county did a transfer and moved some money around for us for the transportation facility to have paving. So this is just you all doing the official approval on that, so we can get those on our books. Got after school program budgeting some of the last revenue they received for the year end as well. Got them pretty close to in line.
Okay. What specific fund? The next one.
So a lot of those are our grant funds. So you'll see where some of our driver training, our EC medical reimbursements and Medicaid funds run through that account. But this is really mostly just grant accounts that we had revenue at year end that we needed to budget.
Okay.
Then you've got 3 pages of state transfers. Most of these transfers are within funds. It's more about the purpose codes that we use and how we pay people and making sure we have all the coverage in those. So you don't see transfers between accounts, it's within accounts. So on the state funds, that's just part of what we do to prepare for our auditors.
Okay, great.
Okay. So there's 3 pages of those. I've been working hard. Local, some of the same. You'll just see some transfers in between so that we can make sure we cover the charter school payments that we discussed needing to move additional funds to those. That's what these transfers between helped us to cover some of those costs. And then
Do you know the total cost to, or not total cost, the revenue transferred to local charter schools? Do you know what that amount was? The total, if you don't have it, you can give it to me later.
It's right at 10 million.
10 million something, that's,
Yeah.
okay.
10 million, some change.
Okay, thank you. Wait, okay, the warehouse lease is the increase on the rent. Is that what it is, the lease?
Yes, so we were
Okay.
transferring to cover those expenses, yes.
Is this additional school nutrition bad debt, or is this the one we've always had?
It's the one we've always had. We just had
That's
to
okay.
make sure we covered it.
Okay.
Then we
Next.
move to federal funds. Same process happens within those accounts. You'll see all this is within the same account. They balance within accounts and they're just moving funds based on how they spent the dollars. So there's 3 pages of those.
Okay,
And then we have some capital outlay, and it's the same thing. You'll see it's within the same account. It's just making sure that we've covered where we've spent dollars, on specific items like furniture or whatever. We just make sure we have to cover those purpose codes.
because we budget about 200,000 for all that in the year, right? Yep.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, does anyone have?
That's it for those.
Any questions? So we need a motion to recommend this to the full board.
So moved.
Right.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Next is Esser funding academic support platform.
There's 2 different memos included under this agenda item. One is for a pilot program that academics is looking at for 3 different schools. It's a literacy platform pilot that we're going to have at Marshville, Rocky River, and Western Union. So this is a year-long pilot program. We'll use Esser dollars to see it, to test the program and see how it goes. If we like it, we'll expand it and come back to you all to discuss that,
So,
but it's annual renewal.
How does this differ from Orton Gillingham, and what was the other one that we were doing?
Jolly
Test.
Phonics.
What, so is this
Jolly
one, is this one more?
No, so this is actually, we've been working on trying to figure out how to replicate a bit of our focus school math tutoring, but for
This is
literacy.
math, okay.
But for literacy. And so this is actually looking at virtual tutoring for the first time that we've been able to find a platform that will do this. So it's looking at reading and literacy tutoring in a very similar way that we've been doing our math tutoring model.
Okay.
And we wanted to run the pilot to see how well and what our results could be, and then really want to look at expanding that specifically for elementary schools with literacy. So this is all about in-school daily tutoring.
So Jolly Phonics and Orton Gillingham, because of the pandemic, we haven't been able to say how we're doing with this.
Correct. We're in like year 3 technically, but we lost a
2
half
years.
a year or 2 years.
Yeah.
So we really don't have apples to apples data
Okay.
on that. And hopefully by the
Okay.
end of this year, we will.
And why did we pick these 3 schools, Marshville, Rocky River, and Western Union?
I believe Dr. Breedlove had informational sessions for all principals who might be interested. And these are the 3
Okay.
who said that they wanted to build this in their master schedule and make it work.
Awesome. Any questions? If not, I'll take a
Yes,
motion. Oh, sorry, Jimmy.
Those other 2, the Jolly and the
Orton Gillingham, yeah.
Gillingham, since we have not been utilizing them, have we still been paying them, or was the payment only as they instructed?
We've been using them. We just haven't been able to compare the results from them because of the pandemic. So I think the schools, there's 10 each, right? Dr. Houlihan would.
Yes, and the schools have been paying and we've been paying for a little bit. So it's a mixture. We've been continuing to pay because part of the program is staff development, and they've been able to do that virtually. So
Okay.
So
We're still using the programs in the schools, right?
Okay, I just wanted to
Absolutely.
make sure. I
Yeah,
just wanted to
absolutely.
make sure because
No,
I
I
heard,
think that's a great question. Yep.
no, I heard, you know, pandemic haven't been using, and I just wanted to make sure that we weren't paying and not getting anything for the buck. That's all.
No, we're still using it, and as far as I know from teachers, very, very happy with both programs. So
Great. Okay, so I need a motion to send this, or to recommend this to the full board.
So move.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, next is the Esser funding district support.
So we've talked several times in some of our full board meetings. I know Dr. Houlihan has discussed when we met with principals to identify some of the instructional supports that they need starting this school year. You all put together, we had all the principals come in, talk to Dr. Houlihan. You all allocated $900,000 to the schools for them to use based on those plans. So as part of those discussions, there were themes that came out of that, like, you know, needing additional ELL supports, some of the literacy and math supports, and some of the mental health supports. So we've, as a team, have pulled together a lot of information, done some planning, and put together a plan for us to implement to help schools with those identified needs, the identified needs that came out of those meetings. So, you know, we've got a plan. The majority of, well, not the majority, I think just about every one of the general Esser funding applications has a section in there wanting to know how you're going to support ELL. That's been a big push with a lot of these Esser dollars, knowing that the English language learners were going to be some of the harder or the more difficult with the gaps, to help bring those back up to speed. So we've outlined the district plan in this memo, and funding. A lot of this is going to be staffing, which is going to be a challenge. So, you know, the funds have been budgeted and the plan has been approved through DPI because we included a lot of these things when we did do our applications. So now it's a matter of, in practice, what are we as a district going to do to help address some of these needs?
So what's the budgeted amount that you have with Esser funding for this?
So right now we're looking at probably around a little over 3.5 for allocating for some of the staffing needs for ELL.
Mm-hmm.
And again, that's going to be, are we going to, you know, are we going to be able to find people? Are we going to shift people from part-time positions to full-time positions? You know, what supports do we have out in the schools that maybe we can start utilizing to help support some of these and find different staff maybe to fill in. So we're going to work on that plan. Some of the literacy and math intervention supports you all have been talking about, Flyleaf and some of those. They used some different platforms in the summer program, and we're able to identify some things that we wanted to pursue as a district. That's going to be about $500,000 for all elementary schools. So all 30 elementary schools would get a math and literacy intervention packets to help with those initiatives. And then we have an account already for the mental health supports, which is right at $900,000. And again, a lot of these are going to be finding the staff, looking for contracts. Now, the mental health support, we're looking to find a contract vendor similar to what we did for the nurses, so that we can pull people in, use them where we need to, have resources to pull in when we have a vacancy or have additional needs, have that resource there. We're struggling because everyone's trying to do the same thing. We're trying to secure a contract for those services to help provide those additional supports as needed. So we're just going to try to move forward and trying to find those vendors that maybe can help support our district.
Okay. Anyone have any questions? Thank you, Shauna. That was a good explanation of that. Thanks for explaining it. If not, I will take a motion to recommend this to the full board.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Fine.
Thank you. Okay, those are all the action items. We'll move on to, oh no, wait, I'm sorry. Transportation is next.
Yeah, so one of the things that we've talked about a lot is our shortage of bus drivers. So one of the identified strategies is to potentially purchase some vans, some 7, 8 passenger vans, a minivan basically, to help transport some of our smaller groups, potentially McKinney-Vento, maybe some of the EC students that don't need the, that aren't in wheelchairs and things like that. We have a lot of buses, well, not a lot. We have buses that travel across the county sometimes to transport students that may only have 1 or 2 kids on those buses. So in an effort to try to pull some of our resources and utilize, so because you don't have to have the CDL to drive this van. We wanted to try to purchase some vans and see if we can help with some of that effort. So this memo is a request to purchase a maximum of 5 vans at a maximum of $200,000 because we want to put some on the road and have a spare. Right now, we're struggling finding them. I don't know if you all have seen any of the car lots, but there's not much out there. So we're hoping that in November is kind of what we've been looking at, and in some of our contacts talking with some of the state contracts. Maybe in November we'll have the ability to make those purchases, but we wanted to go ahead and get approval from you all so we can move on them quickly, because if we don't move quickly, we're going to lose them. So this is a not to exceed, and we'll see what we can pull together to maybe to test this out.
I'm hearing you say 5, but this says 7. Is
Oh,
that the not to exceed?
Sorry, it is 7, and they'll put 6 on the road and have 1 spare. I apologize.
No, it's 5. It's 5 7 passenger vans. They'll have 4 on the road and 1 spare.
It's too early.
It's confusing because it says 5 7 passenger vans. So it's a 5 vans.
Yes, 5. Yes, 5. So I thought
4 on the road and 1
maybe think, well, maybe it was 7.
No.
So it's 4 on the road and 1 spare.
Okay, will that be sufficient?
Well, we don't want to purchase a lot until we see how this works. They can support these through state transportation dollar. They can maintain these vehicles and all of that. We're just going to use this funding to purchase the vehicles. So if this is successful and we can find drivers to drive the vans a little easier, we won't be able to get too far out. A lot of districts have done this in the past. This isn't something new. Many districts utilize something similar to this for the same purpose. We'll just see based on our need whether or not we need any additional.
And this is recommended by Scott Denton, correct?
Yes.
Yep. Okay.
I think I know when I read it, I said, this is genius here. This is somebody thinking. And I was impressed with this. That's why I'm asking, is it going to be sufficient? Because I based on the emails alone, I said this could fill some of those holes that some of these emails are talking.
We're hoping that it can do something. And as you can see in there, we will outfit them all with the same equipment that any other transportation vehicle would have: cameras, GPS, and those things. So again, we'll just see what the demand is and how many individuals can we get the positions filled to fill them. And we may come back to you to purchase some additional if we need to.
Okay. Okay, if there's no additional questions, I'll entertain a motion to send this to the full board.
So moved.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. So that is the end of the action item. Sorry about that. The next is COVID relief funding update, which is the memo we always get.
Yes, I've gone through and updated some of the expenditure items and some of our balances. We have spent out some of the Canvas licenses and some of these allocations that we received previously. I was on a webinar last week. There's more little bits and pieces coming for different things. So you will start seeing this grow. It's getting more challenging to manage all the little bits and pieces because we're going to have to do applications for all that, budget for all that. So we'll come to you all with all the details on those items and, any discussion or questions that you all have. Some of it is allocations that the state does. They have some percentage they can hold back. and then they can allocate to districts based on formulas or specific needs. So that's why we're going to start seeing, that's what this is why you saw some of the little bits and pieces that you saw. We have two kind of like bulk or, mass funding, and then little things that come through that we can apply for, and based on our application, we receive funding. So.
Okay. Any questions? No? Okay. Next is the fiscal year 22 budget update.
Yeah.
No state budget yet.
Yeah, no state budget yet. No real word on a state budget yet. I know they've been working on it. We've heard several. I know Ms. Heintel reached out last week, and they were hoping to have something in 2 weeks. So we'll see. I've got a webinar today at 9 with DPI just to get an update. If we haven't heard anything, unfortunately, neither have they. Used to, they would have some communication and have some individuals that would kind of feed information so we could get some information. So at this point, I know when we talked last month, I expressed that maybe we need to move forward with some of our local implementation of some of our increases and some of the things that you all have previously approved. Initially my hesitation in doing some of that is making sure that we give the benefit to all when we have increases, we only impact an employee's paycheck one time. The less you can mess with their take home pay, the better. I mean, I know when it's an increase, a lot of times they have questions. So I feel like at this point, I do want to try to go ahead and move forward with our local compensation adjustment for our, the remainder of our comp study, our bus driver implementation that you all have improved, those increases, and our school nutrition staff. At this point, I feel like we can manage getting those done, and we'll see what the state does. They'll all get retro. We can get those.
And that'll be all
completed.
compensation.
Yes.
Okay.
That will
Everything that we have
reach
in our
all
budget.
categories.
Okay.
Right. That'll reach
Okay.
all the categories that were initially included in our comp study. So that's everyone. And then we can kind of move forward and see what the state does and just make adjustments after we get their budget.
Okay.
So I really didn't put anything in board docs because I wanted to talk to you all and get, some feedback from you. Is that something you want me to put together for FYI purposes, or, you all have already approved it, but just letting you all know we're going to move forward in that direction so that, you all are aware of what's happening.
That would be great to take to the full board.
Okay.
Next Tuesday. It would be
Okay.
great.
I'll
Because
put
we're going to
something
be
together to go with
October's Friday. So it would be good to get some of this stuff done while we're still waiting. So
yes,
okay.
because depending on what the state does, it's going to be some demand on my staff just to get everything completed.
Right.
A lot of times they give us deadlines. So if we do this, then we can work through whatever state implementation and budget needs we have at that time.
Great. That would be great to full board. Okay, awesome. Does anyone have anything else? No? Okay. Our next meeting will be October 26th. And we're good with this 8 a.m. Zoom for your jobs?
Good for me.
Okay, good. And it's good for Joe. Okay, I will take, excuse me, a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Motion to adjourn. Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
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 Thanks, Shauna. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Yep, have a good one.